We're here, Shane, because one, I've just come off Dragon's Den. Well, I say just come off. I filmed it in June, and I want to give some insight as to what it's like to go on the show and the reason why I went on there. But also, we're creating these videos to create a vodcast, a monthly vodcast, to give away some of my knowledge and insights, really, as to what it's like being in business, and to hopefully help guys on their on their journeys from startup right the way through to established. But also to kind of bring attention and highlight some of the things that I've been through and kind of some of the obstacles I've overcome to get to where I am. But today, this video is mainly about kind of MESOA, the journey, and Dragon's Den.
Great. Okay, so tell us who is Matt Jones?
I'm sure lots of people have different opinions on that, but it's a great question, and it's quite a funny one to ask and answer now, because I suppose started out underachiever in school, not really interested, and then later on in life become an overachiever by setting up a business and then doing incredibly well. Definitely a mistake maker, made plenty of them, but also helped a lot of people that I'd like to think. Kind of built something amazing, just an entrepreneur, really, through and through. Definitely somebody who's learned the hard way, as well as, but I've also had great success. And, I've done well for myself. But father, husband, brother-in-law, and somebody who has a great passion for communication, advertising, and male skincare products.
Well, definitely great success on the brother-in-law, that's for sure. Okay, so let's talk Dragon's Den.
Shit.
So how did it come about?
All right, good. So it was during the lockdown. It was March last year. I was at home working, and I got an email from the BBC. And at first I thought it was a joke. I thought someone's having me on, But no, they reached out to me after reading an article and asked me if I'd be interested in going on to Dragon's Den. It was pretty much as basic as that. And at first, I was like, not a chance in hell. Absolutely not. I think I even deleted the email. And I remember speaking to my wife about it, and we were both like, nah, that's too much. That's no. Because there's naturally, when you watch these things on TV, when you watch The Apprentice or Dragon's Den or even X Factor and things like that, I don't know about you, but I'm the kind of person, right, who puts a pillow in front of my face. Honestly, I squirm. It's cringe,
Yeah.
I'm terrible for it. Even if it's somebody amazing, I'm like, I'm obviously always rooting for him, but it's, so I kind of, that was so at first I was like, I'm not going on. No. But at the time, I was kind of at my kind of lowest as well, because I just sold my business, and I was suffering with this thing called like imposter syndrome. I know what it is now, but at the time I was so that played a part of it. I'm not feeling sorry for myself, but that would play part of it, and I was like, nah, I don't want to put myself out in the public domain. And then a few days went by, and I thought to myself, if not now, when? If not now, when? If I'm not going to put myself back out there, when? Where is there a bigger stage than that for entrepreneurs? And yes, I went on there and I asked for 65,000 for 5%, I think. It's quite some time ago now. But I didn't go on there necessarily just for the money. I went on there because I wanted a business partner at that level, because being an entrepreneur is incredibly fucking lonely, and anybody who says it's not is full of shit, especially when you're the sole owner of a business. It's incredibly hard. Actually, rephrase that. Not necessarily if you're just a sole owner. If you're an owner of a business and you're entrepreneurial, I believe it's incredibly lonely from my experience. I've been self-employed now for 15 years, right? So, I've got the stars and the stripes and the scars. So I went on there because to find myself a business partner. I went on there to raise more awareness to the brand MESOA. But also the biggest thing for me was battling some of these demons in my head, and I was actually, as I said, I'm in therapy at the time, so it was kind of putting myself back out there and putting myself back into the public domain because I was turning a bit of a recluse. I didn't want to go anywhere, so I kind of put myself back out there. And the moment, Shane, I was standing behind those lift doors, you won't see this, you won't know that I'm feeling it, but when you watch on TV, the moment when I'm standing behind those lift doors, I wanted to run. Honestly, I was thinking to myself in my head, what the am I doing here? I don't need to be here. This is ridiculous. I'm up. I was standing behind the door, but on TV, you'll just see me like this, poker face. But when I was standing, I thought, oh, this is ridiculous. Why am I here? And then the doors open. And as I walked in, I just seen Deborah Meaden like, you know what I mean? Like, proper, like, as great as she is, but like proper, like, fuck. So I kind of, walked in, stood on the cross, and give my pitch. So yeah.
So all of those things considered, what was it that actually made you go on the show? Was it proving something to yourself?
Well, as I just said, really, if not now, when? So when was I going to put myself back out there again?
To put yourself through all of that, just
to feel something.
To feel it.
To feel something.
Yeah.
To start, and also to test myself. Yeah, that was the reason why I went on there, because I knew, like, I didn't want to be out in the public domain anymore, Shane. You know of what I've achieved in the past and what I've done, and I just didn't want to be in the public domain anymore. I had enough of that kind of business persona, as I said. So, when they approached me initially, I thought, nah, I ain't doing it. I'm building MESOA. We were in a pandemic. I was kind of like, I think I went fishing every day for about a year. And
you did.
I think I did, didn't I? Yeah.
You did.
And yeah, if not now, when? I thought I've got to get myself back out there. Like, this is an opportunity. Would I ever get an opportunity like that again? I don't know. So as I said, really, it wasn't just about the money. And it wasn't just about raising profile MESOA. It was for me. It was having the courage to do it. And when you see all of the contestants that go on Dragon's Den, I think that every one of them needs a round of applause, because it is absolutely terrifying. Now, you know me. You know that I've been in the marketing and advertising industry since 2003. You can imagine the amount of pictures I've done. You can imagine the amount of pressured situations I've been in running my own business. Naturally, I've been under pressure, right? Because I'm an entrepreneur and a business owner. Like every other entrepreneur and business owner, we're in pressure situations, and we've got to pitch for business, and we've got to do things that are uncomfortable. I don't know, think of it like cold calling or new business, or pitching to a room of directors on your own. We can all get good at these things, which I naturally am good at these things, but it doesn't take away from being scary, and it doesn't take it away from being pressured, right? And when you're up there, open for critique, people are going to say what they want about you. You raise your head above the parapet, somebody's going to take a shot. So it was all of those things, and I needed to feel something again. And I thought, if not now, when, Matthew? When are you going to put yourself back out there? You're building this brand for MESOA. And I was going through therapy with Dan Stanley, who was an amazing, amazing man. And I thought, it's got to be now. It's got to be now. So I took the opportunity. I was absolutely bricking it. And for anybody to say that they don't brick it going on there, well, fair play to them, because I was. Even though I had all that experience, it was a bit like,
So you mentioned when you were in the lift and you wanted to run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can leg it.
We'll get into the den in a bit, but I think, what was the overwhelming emotion that you were feeling? Was it excitement? Was it nerves? What was it?
Get the fuck out of there. No. I think it's good we're drilling down in it a bit. So I'll give you an idea about the day. So basically I got there at 6:30 in the morning and I pitched at 5:45 in the evening. That's a long day, yeah? Of being in a dressing room, got looked after, of course, but being in a dressing room all that time on your own. So dealing with your own thoughts, putting yourself through all that, and then 1 minute you're gonna go on now. No, you're not. You're not gonna go on yet. And then right, you're gonna be next. You're not gonna be next. You're gonna go after lunch now. Oh my God, you can imagine, can you? Like the feeling of waiting, the suspense for it. It's when you're actually in the lift. Well, when I was in the lift, it was, as I said to you, you'll see it on camera. You won't know, but I'm standing there, and it felt like I was standing there for about 15 minutes. I'm sure it was like 15 seconds. But in my head, it was like, first of all, it was like, run. You don't have to be here. You do not have to put yourself through this. You're going to walk in there, and these 5 amazing business people, these dragons, they're going to tear you apart. That's what's going through my head. I'm like, oh my God. Like, why? But then the other side of me, I thought, I reminded myself of the reason why I went on, the reason why I agreed to go on in the first place. If not now, when? Put yourself out there. Raise your head above the parapet. Show your vulnerability. And it's one of the things I work on with Dan. It's about how many people out there could actually benefit from listening to my story, even if what I've been through directly is not of a benefit to them, but seeing somebody else be brave enough to talk about the past struggles, mental health, and putting themselves through something a bit difficult could give them a bit of encouragement. So that was going through my head. But what was going through my head as well was I'm obviously passing down lessons to my children. Yeah. And, I wouldn't want them to ever bail on a situation because the going got tough a little bit. So I needed to show to them that, there's no growth in your comfort zone. And then in life, we have to go through hard stuff to get to the good stuff. And also, I didn't want to let my wife down. So, yeah, that's the reason why.
You made it through the door, resisted the temptation to run. What were the dragons like?
Well, I think that's a really good question because I'm sure everybody kind of has a different experience, doesn't they? Dependent on what it is you're pitching, what's your business idea, and how well prepared you are. Because then naturally you see a different side of somebody, wouldn't you? But I think, and as individuals, well, I don't know him. I know him probably as well as you do. Or anybody else who either, follows them on social media or listens to them on podcasts or sees them on videos. So I can't comment on what they're like as individuals, but my experience within the den, I thought was, well, naturally, some of it was fair, some fair comments from some of the dragons. And also I think some of them, I disagreed with, naturally. But on the whole, I thought they were all great. It was a pressured environment, isn't it? You've got cameras all around you. You're standing on the cross. They're asking you questions which you have prepared for, but it is a TV show as well, isn't it? So they're looking for the place where maybe you're not the strongest, or there's an area which could be debatable, or every point in business, I suppose, can be scrutinized or questioned. And I think it comes down to how well prepared you are. Preparation is one thing. I think it also comes down to the type of person you are, in a sense of, can you take questioning to that level? You have to think as well, I read an article somewhere that the average Dragon's Den's pitch is over an hour. I was in there for 2 hours and 15 minutes. So imagine pitching, imagine even talking for that long, So there was a lot of questions. I think it's, I'm also on the last episode. I don't know if it has anything, you can think by it, but I thought the dragons, well, they did their job, and they've all got different opinions, right? And then I said it goes back to kind of what you also take on that as well, because I suppose I could have a whole totally different opinion of them if I potentially weren't necessarily happy with everything I said in there, you know? So yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. You mentioned disagreements.
Mm.
Did you have any?
Yeah. In my head, everything. No, a couple. No. So we're going to post this video after it's gone out, right? So this was filmed in June. And that was, what, 8 months ago now?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Kind of 9 months, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I can remember a lot of it. I have not watched it yet myself. This is being recorded, isn't it? Prior to going out. But some of the things that stuck in my head. So I think, no, I do remember. I had a kind of a bit of a debate with Deborah. So whilst I was sat, kind of standing there, and I was answering questions with Peter or with Stephen at that point, I know I was looking to my right. I could see Deborah in my peripheral vision, looking at my products like, reading like everything on the back. And I thought, oh no, she's found something, or she's gonna, this. Naturally, you're thinking, you're constantly preparing yourself, aren't you? I'm ready, like, someone's gonna hit you, you're gonna move and then throw him back. So I'm waiting, So I'm waiting for the question, and then she says to me, Matthew. I think she said Matthew. Are all of your products organic? So yes. So what you don't see is, you see the shelves with all the products on there. Our kind of due diligence folder is behind that, and it's almost as big as the shelf. You know what I mean? So every product has all its own information, and everything's in there. So I knew I was right. He said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes, I'm sure." He said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes, I'm sure." She said, Then tell me, why isn't the organic badge on the product? Fuck. They've got me on something. Do you know what I mean? I thought, I was doing so well. She was right. Hands in the air. It's not on there. But I suppose this goes back to a little bit about being in business, right? There are some things you have to get absolutely bang on. On our website, it talks about, we educate guys on the fact that, our products are organic, and we educate guys on why they're organic and how to use them. But sometimes in business, mistakes happen, right? It's part of the startup process. But kind of a big lesson is you just gotta get started. You have the idea, you've done your research, you're gonna launch, you found a product to solve an issue, you've got a solution to a problem, you do all the packaging, you do all the design, you do all the copywriting, you do all the website, you find your manufacturers, you create your niche, you create your market, right? Things, not everything is going to go 100% to plan. But then there's another lesson about being a leader. So there wasn't any way that I was going to say, well, it's the designer's fault, or that wasn't picked up, or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, that's my business, my problem. So I said, Deborah, it's an absolute oversight. And there's a little bit of pushback, Do you think that I believe that kind of a mistake like that be made by somebody who's an entrepreneur? Well, the answer is yes. The mistake was made. So I remember saying, what kind of answer do you want me to give you? Because I was just saying, it was an absolute oversight. So it wasn't on there because it was an oversight. So that was the one kind of thing pushed back on. But Deborah was absolutely bang on to pick that up because it should have been on there. And it is on a now next run. So she actually taught me something there. And then the other bit of pushback I had was around the unique sales proposition for MESOA for men. So the question was asked, what makes you unique? Why would I buy your product versus a competitor's product? Totally normal question. So I explained what my unique sales proposition was, a little bit like I did earlier on. So just a recap on that. We're a premium male skincare brand for the everyday man. That's what we are. But what makes us unique is that We're educating guys on what products, what routines, how, when, and why you should use these products to solve the most common of skin and hair issues. Now, if you looked at our competition in the marketplace and looked at their skincare websites, the products they have, the education they have, what they do, you'll see that there's a lack of education surrounding what products to use, when to use them, routine. So you wash your face with this, you exfoliate like this, you put this moisturizer on like this, and this is why. There's a lack of education. If you and I were to walk around Cardiff right now, and you could point out as many guys as you wanted to, and you asked them, when was the last time they had a skincare issue, and how did they educate themselves? No one is going to say they went on YouTube and YouTube searched how to take care of their skincare. They're going to tell you that they went on to Google, maybe in a private kind of space, even maybe incognito, because cosmetics is still a little bit taboo when it shouldn't be. Search for, I have acne, or I have dry skin, or blackheads, because these things are really upsetting for guys. Yeah? So we search out the problem, and then we educate ourselves online. We educate ourselves on the website that's selling the product. Because the products, I can buy the product there, and there's the education. Then as guys, we usually go away, we take our time, so there's a funnel, kind of investigate, which is the first bit, find the information, that's what we do. And then deliberate, is that product for me? More education. And then action, purchase. So our unique sales proposition is that we educate guys on how to take care of themselves, appearance-wise, so products and routines, when to use them, how to use them. So education is a big USP for us. So the question was, well, if I want to educate myself on skincare, I go onto YouTube. Fair enough. Fair enough for some people. But when we talk about guys in my kind of generation and the younger generation who have skincare issues and hair care issues, they need to educate themselves first and find that location, that source of information. And if that source of information is in depth enough, in the right language, in the right locations, with videos and explainers, that's what makes that brand unique, and that's what makes us unique. So that was one of the pushback I had. And when I left, I thought, damn it, I could have explained that better. I think, hands in here, the pressure was on a little bit. I rang that point. So yeah, I explained that like I just did. But I think I compared it, MESOA, to other brands. So there's other brands out there, great for them, called Gladiator Skin. What does that even mean? You've got to be a gladiator if you want to win our skincare product. I don't even understand what it means. Do you know what I mean? Or rock face. That's the kind of thing guys don't want. They don't want rock faces. Brilliant brands, not knocking them down. But the point I'm making is the education on these sites is very limited in comparison to us. I'll ask you the question. So, okay, I'm your brother-in-law and I've given you skincare products. But if you had a skin or a hair care, I'll ask anybody watching this, if you had a skin or hair care issue and you needed to find information based on what product or routines are right for you, are you going to go to YouTube? Or are you going to search that information online?
Well, I'll search it online.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it makes us unique because we have so much of it. Yeah, sore point that one. But also a bit of a sore point because I've been in advertising for since 2003. Don't test me on USP, Stephen. So love Stephen, listen to his podcast. Fantastic. But yeah, that was a kind of pushback. And naturally, if I was sat in his chair, I'd be asking the same question, wouldn't I? But kind of that's just one of the things that I felt like I could have done better on. But also that is a big USP for us. But also, when you hear the word premium, we naturally think expensive, don't we?
We do.
Premium. Ooh, that's going to be quite tasty. But when it's premium skincare for the everyday man, like we're all everyday men, all of us, every one of us. We're not saying we're gladiators, we're everyday. We're not saying we got rock faces, we're everyday men. Everyday men who suffer with everyday skincare issues, who have the same everyday kind of negative thoughts sometimes, who need to associate with a brand or buy from a brand to be educated by that brand and make you feel like your voice is heard and that you actually matter. And that's what makes us different.
What was the end result? Did you get any offers?
Can't tell you, man.
Come on.
Well, you've just watched it, haven't you?
I have, yeah, I know.
I hope. No. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I was successful, yeah.
So how did you come away from the experience? How did you feel about it all?
Initially, so like the moment I walked out of the den, I felt as though I let myself down. I felt as though I let myself down on the USP bit, to be honest with you. And obviously, because I've been in communications for so long, I thought, you know, you can imagine, can't you? It's the thing you do. It's how I work with other brands, by understanding what makes them unique. But also, just so you know, just throwing it in there, you can launch a business without having a unique singular proposition. It's he who shouts loudest wins. Right, so that was the bit that kind of. So when I first walked there, I thought, I was a little bit annoyed. And also, all that rush of emotions, you know, the build up to it, standing in the lift, walking out through the doors, in front of all the cameras, in front of people you've been watching since like the very first episode it went out on series 1. I've always been a massive fan of Dragon's Den. I've watched it for years, like we all have. And then I'm on the show. So it's a little bit like, you know, starstruck. You got to like grab yourself a little bit. So all that kind of rush of emotions. And I did the exit interview. And I remember leaving, my father-in-law, Rob, picked me up from outside the studio. And I remember sitting in the car, like, you know, just trying to calm down a little bit, decompress, because there's such a... Naturally, well, I don't know, but me, my thoughts start a negative spiral. Well, why did you say that for? What people going to, you know? But after a while, kind of settling down, you kind of remember the reason why you went on there. You know, if not now, when?
Yes.
You know.
And you were successful. You know, so I know you, Matt, and you're obviously your own biggest critic. So
yeah.
Well,
that's the thing, isn't it? I think I'm definitely a big you know, what do we strive for if not perfection? Which, you know, perfection is so hard to achieve, isn't it? You know, so I have learned over the last couple of years in my new mindset, as Dan would say, is still in its infancy. Got to give it a bit of a break. You know, perfection is incredibly hard to achieve. But step by step, brick by brick, you know, focus on the next step, Don't worry about the big thing, just focus on where you are now. So I'm constantly trying to develop myself and build myself. So yeah, kind of a lot of pressure. But as I got my thoughts back together again, I was proud that I went on there. The hardest part has been waiting since June for it to go on.
I can imagine, yeah. I can imagine.
Crazy.
Okay, so Dragon's Den.